Welcome, everyone. I can't see anyone. That's probably a good thing. I think I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Otherwise, they know I'll just talk too long. That way I can control things. So many of you in the crowd don't quite understand that, but these folks do, and they'll explain it to you later. So hello, welcome to the celebration of our seniors and their senior work. My name is Professor Patterson. I am the full-time faculty member here at your college, and I teach in graphic design. So, I have some people I'd like to thank. Thank you to President Burns, Dean Landau, our department chair, Dr. Inkster, all the full-time faculty for fine art, and our graphic design and fine art adjunct faculty as well. I'd also like to thank all our business partners that have supported our program and students through internships, independent studies, and a special thank you to Professor Melanie Rogers for her guidance in building such a fine graphic design program. Finally, I'd like to thank all the parents and guardians that had trusted your daughters to study graphic design. They made an excellent choice. So, what is graphic design? What do graphic designers do all day? This is a statement that we read at open houses for incoming freshmen. And I'm only going to read a portion of it, but it is an accurate guidance for our program. It's written by a designer, writer, and critic, Jessica Heflin. Graphic design is a complex combination of words and pictures, numbers and charts, photographs and illustrations that, in order to succeed, demands the clear thinking of a particular thoughtful individual who can orchestrate these elements so that they all add up to something distinctive or useful or playful or surprising or subversive or somehow memorable. Graphic design is a popular art, a particular art, an applied art, and an ancient art. Simply put, it is the art of visualizing ideas. Graphic designers at York are particularly thoughtful individuals. That's what this group is. They are particularly thoughtful individuals. Our students do all the things. Contrary to popular belief, nerdy glasses and a laptop are not the only requirements for success in the graphic design field. Designers at York are drawers and illustrators. They work in motion graphics and animation. They thrive in analog making like letterpress, printmaking, and hand lettering. Their photography is award-winning. They photograph documenting the world through digital processes and a powerful analog darkroom imagery. They are web designers working in user experience. They are self-publishers. They are writers. They design typefaces. They are entrepreneurs already hustling to make work for side gigs. Our students learn all the things. This group has done just that. For the senior thesis, there is a theme that is always given to our students. But first, students have to do quite a bit of work before they actually put rubber to the road. They have to think before they can do. And And the process scares them because I was taught to do this class, we don't jump right in and just start designing. In some ways, that's the easy part. It's how you have to think about how you want to approach an idea. So for this year, our senior thesis were asked to look inward, reflect on what and who impacted their lives to shape who they are today. I gave my example. My example was big wheel. I loved riding my big wheel down Yale Street, a big hill. I loved skidding, making those circles. All my friends who had a lot more money than I did had the green machine. But that shaped my world. It shaped my life. I reflect on those sort of things. But you know there's so much more that shapes anyone's world. As you will see today, they have done their research. They have figured out what shapes their world. All seniors, when they get to this stage where they are in this class, where they are going through senior professional experience, they get to choose what their theme is or what their title of their exhibition is. They have chosen Catalyst. They've reflected on the body of work, what they have done all year long. And I can't imagine that anything more appropriate than this. Catalyst, an agent that provokes significant change and or action. Welcome to Catalyst. Thank you. This mouse is the worst mouse experience. Val? I'm going to invite Val up to the podium to give the first presentation as soon as I get. Come on up. Help me get this over here. I can't find the mouse. Maybe you have a better touch than I do. There you go. Perfect. Okay. You good?
Yep.
Got this.
Yeah. Thank you, Prof. Patterson. Hello. I hope you can't tell how nervous I am right now. So my name is Valeria Morant, agent of relationships. Let me get settled. Sorry. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Over the past years, my journey as a designer has shaped my experiences, challenges, and inspirations. Today I'll be walking you through that journey. This project is an accumulation of everything I've learned, and I'm excited to share it with you today. Growing up in downtown Frederick, I was always surrounded by art and culture. From the vibrant murals scattered throughout the city to the unique restaurants and local shops, creativity was everywhere. I always remember going to downtown and being immersed in that environment fascinated me, and naturally sparked my interest in design, even before I fully realized it. I've always known that I want to do something creative. Graphic design became the perfect path because it's more than just making things look good. It's about communication, problem solving, and storytelling. I want my work to be meaningful and connect with others in a way that lasts. Before coming to York College, I graduated from Frederick Community College with an associate's degree in graphic design. I learned a lot during my time there, from the basics of branding to coding for web design, and it gave me a strong foundation. But I always knew I wanted to challenge myself further and continue growing as a designer. That's what led me to York College. In my first semester at York, we had to create posters using mark-making processes where we made marks on a page for a few minutes, then photographed them to capture a specific mood. This project made me realize just how I enjoy experimenting with mark making and the challenge of finding beautiful compositions within the randomness. When it comes to my process, I like to keep things playful and true to who I am. For my postcard, I decided to go to a skate park, put a coat on my head, and took a series of photos. I then cut and pasted them together to create this final piece. It was weird, chaotic, but so much fun. During my time at York, I had to create an entire book, 10,000 words, all my own illustrations and photographs. The real challenge came 2 weeks before the deadline, when I lost everything. In that moment, I learned one of the most important but painful lessons in my design career. Never trust technology. Back up everything. I will never make that mistake again. Hopefully. I was always drawn to history, especially how past artists influenced the world around them. That curiosity led me to pick up an art minor, where I explored not just painting and sculpture, but also graphic novels, letterpress, and film history. These classes gave me a deeper appreciation for different forms of storytelling and design. One of my most challenging yet rewarding projects was designing my own typeface, Brasileiro. It started with endless sketching, then hours of vectoring, followed by the ultimate test, kerning every single combination. This process was tedious, but in the end, I created a typeface that I love. This project gave me a whole new appreciation for type design and the work behind it. After taking my first editorial photography course, I decided to invest in my first digital camera. I found myself really enjoying capturing objects and people and creating images that feel intentional and beautiful. What surprised me most is how much this work has started to influence my other projects. It's become another tool I love using in my design process. This is a branding project where I really had to develop my craft. Isla Dulce is a mocktail company that's based in Colombia, and I had to design the logo, packaging, and style guide. I also had to physically build out the final product, which taught me the importance of craft and precision in bringing a brand to life. Another branding project I worked on was called Abnormality. This one was done in just 1 week, so I really had to trust myself and lean into what I do best. It was a fast-paced project, but one that reminded me that sometimes the best results come from following your instincts and embracing your strengths. At York College, I had the opportunity to do an independent study that gave me real-world experience. I got to work closely with an art director and a client to create promotional material for the production of Seussical. This experience pushed my communication skills and allowed me to see how my work could come to life. My time at York taught me more than just good design techniques. It taught me the importance of communication, both with my peers and potential clients. I built lasting relationships and met people from diverse backgrounds, which broadened my perspective. Moving to a new environment mid-college was intimidating, but in the end, it was one of the best decisions I've made. This brings me to my senior project, In This Together. Given the theme, Shape the World, I wanted to create something meaningful and personal. I designed a card game that encourages people to build connections and show appreciation for the relationships in their own lives. At the time, I was struggling in my own relationships. My family was going through big changes, my partner and I were facing challenges, and I felt lonely at York without friends. Instead of letting that isolation define me, I turned it into an opportunity. I created something that not only helped me strengthen my relationships, but also supported others who might be going through the same thing. I chose a card game because it's interactive, accessible, and invites real conversations. Relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or familiar, take effort. This game helps make that effort a little easier and more intentional. It encourages people to slow down, be present, and truly engage with one another. I incorporated my love for pattern to make this game feel more approachable, even though it covers such deep and personal topics. It's a result of my desire to use design as a way to make a meaningful impact on others. Moving forward, I want to continue creating work that not only solves problems, but also connects with people on a deeper level. As a designer, my goal is to work at an agency or an in-house designer for a company that makes a difference. I want to be a part of a team that designs to raise social awareness. I also plan to continue experimenting with pattern and mark making, using these techniques to create projects that leave a lasting impact on people. I want to thank everyone again for joining us today. A special thanks to my family for their unconditional support and my partner for being there every step of the way. I also want to express my gratitude to my mentors and peers for encouraging me to be the best version of myself being here today. I'm excited to share that I've also accepted a remote position at a marketing agency based in San Diego. I'm looking forward to this next chapter. Thank you. Next, I would like to invite Deanna White, Agent of Advocacy.
Thank you, Val. Thank you all for coming tonight. My name is Deanna White, and when I first got to York, I was terrified. At 17, I went against my grandparents' wishes and graduated from high school a year early, and chose to attend a college out of state. I've known for a while I wanted to pursue graphic design, so it was never a question of what I wanted to be, just if I would make it there. For as long as I can remember, I've used art as a means of emotional expression. My emotions have always been stronger than most, and it was a struggle to put my feelings into words. Because of that, I often insert myself into my projects through my personality or my beliefs. I allow myself to be absorbed into my work, often overthinking it and the aspects going into it. This is my postcard, the ultimate artistic example of me, and the first project where I tried to convince Professor Patterson that I wouldn't be able to successfully illustrate it without the use of Adobe Illustrator's pen tool. But of course, I still had to push through and try my best, despite my fears and anxiety of struggling with it and coming up short compared to my peers. As you can see, I took what I was told to do in stride and avoided the pen tool at all costs, with each element except for the serif typeface being hand-drawn, scanned in, then digitally colored using 3 colors layered to create multiple, including green, purple, pink, and turquoise. It made this a very exciting project for me. I realized I could do more artistically than I believed I could. What makes this a uniquely me piece is more than just the obvious illustration of myself in the middle. It is the elements surrounding me, from musical notes representing my love for music to a crystal referencing my spirituality. Even what's pictured here, the crystal ball, another reference to my spirituality. This is me in every shape and form. Another piece that represents me is Wake Up Willow, a K-Cup brand I was given 1 week to create, meaning everything from a logo to a box mock-up in 7 days. What makes this personal is the name, as it's a callback to the street I grew up on in Baltimore, Maryland, that I hold near and dear to my heart, as it was my first ever safe space. Back to the subject of where I'm from, my roots are an important part of who I am. Thus came the typeface, Baltimore Classic. I designed this typeface for typography too, with the intention that each curve and line would be similar to those found in old architecture featured all throughout Baltimore City that I would often find myself photographing when I was younger. Staying on the subject of typography, this is a typeface that I've named Lava Love. It's an experimental typeface meant to mimic the style of goo within lava lamps. This project really allowed me to think outside the box and be open to getting weird with my graphic design, as experimentation was the whole point. None of the letters had to look like the normal alphabet. It's its own. During my time here at York, I have also been able to hone my photography skills, completing both an independent study in darkroom photography and achieving a minor in photography. What makes me love film photography is the hands-on work it requires. From developing a roll to making prints, I love the process from beginning to end. And I love always going home smelling a little bit like developer. To create work I love, I have to do more than just look at my own interests and what I like. It also requires looking at other designers and how they create good work. A designer I find myself often looking at for inspiration is Aries Morose and their color usage. I also see myself in them, in the way they boldly express themselves, and I admire how they advocate for their employees' mental health. Mental health is so very important and cannot be ignored, especially the mental health of children. Emotional regulation is important for children to learn as it gives them the tools to work through difficult times. Not understanding them can hinder their emotional development and lead to being in a position like me where they get the help they need, but late. When researching, I found that Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health states 21.8% of U.S. children ages 3 to 17 have one or more of the common mental, emotional, and behavioral health conditions assessed. So what's causing this? Why are so many kids struggling with their mental health, and why isn't it being acknowledged? Today's kids are often given iPads as a means of keeping them calm, rather than teaching them the importance of what they feel and how to work through those feelings. This chart from the Institute of Family Studies details how many parents use screens to regulate their child's big emotions. While screens can be good entertainment, they're not necessarily a fix-all for every meltdown. This all brings me to my senior thesis. When Prof P first presented us with the idea of Shape the World, I had no idea what to do. Shape the world, my world? I first thought of making tarot cards, but it didn't feel like the right choice to make. It wasn't enough. After all, I needed to shape the world. When reflecting on my initial research and the notes with it, I noticed a few overarching themes: anger, resentment, grief, and an ache for betterment, which goes right back to my struggle with my own emotional regulation and how it has followed me into adulthood, often hindering me. After speaking to Professor Patterson about the subject matter within my research, that's where it all clicked for me. I needed to make something that would help kids who struggle like I often did. For the kids always labeled as sensitive or overreactive when upset over something big or small, this will provide them an outlet, a safe space that educates and comforts them. From this self-reflection and research came Finding My Feelings, a children's mental health workbook using cognitive behavioral therapy techniques straight from psychiatrists all around America, but with the activities designed by me. But all because I had a solid idea doesn't mean I could get straight to work. This had to be handled very carefully. To make sure I was treating this topic with care and providing proper emotional regulation, I took to speaking with those educated on the subject. Specifically, I spoke to YCP's Department Chair of Psychology, Dr. Jennifer Engler, who allowed me to look through her textbooks and worksheets used to help children. At this point, I have my idea and I have my research. So I got to work hand designing each page, adorning it with childlike aspects, doing simple artwork with colors palatable to children, referencing my research when needed in order to create the most professional workbook I could, carefully tailored to any gendered child. Finally, I'd like to thank everyone in my life who helped me get to this point. All of my professors, my classmates, and having people like my current roommates Rob and Shannon, my former roommate Alex, and my close friend Luke have helped me to continue to push through even when I'm scared of failure. Thank you so much. And now I'd like to invite up the Agent for Community, Maddie Petry.
Good afternoon. My name is Maddie Petry, and on behalf of the senior class, thank you for coming to spend your Saturday afternoon with us. Today, I want to share with you my journey, which I like to call the long game, throughout the graphic design program here at YCP and how it helped shape my senior thesis. How Many Have You Read was designed to encourage others to vote in the 2022 midterm election. As an avid reader, I decided to focus on the mass book bans happening around the country. This project showed me how design can transform personal passion into a call to action. Inspired by many early morning chats with Prof. Rogers during Type 2, my Let's Play typeface was inspired by Olympic pictograms. The goal of this typeface was to create an entire character set that didn't include any identifiable letter forms, thus my use of various sporting icons to create a 26-letter alphabet using anything but. With Love, Blake Falls proved that graphic design was where I belonged. I also got to workshop a book series in the process by writing over 36,000 words in 3 months. Since the completion of this self-published book, I finished the first novel and acquired an editor for it. This has reinforced that storytelling, whether through my own words or design, is central to who I am. St. Martini was my introduction to all things branding in Junior Design Studio. With St. Martini being a brand focused on catering martinis to a younger crowd via can, I went with a more illustrative approach, stepping outside of my comfort zone and created a starfish wearing aviators like Maverick and Top Gun to show just how fun St. Martinis can make people have. Now it was time to simulate tight turnaround times in the workplace with the Rush Project. Batter's Brew is a fictitious K-Cup coffee brand based in Baltimore. I drew from retro baseball jersey lettering for the logo and used red, white, and blue as the color scheme to recognize baseball as America's pastime and not the Yankees, much to Prof P's protest. Noodling Around is a homemade dried pasta company designed with kids in mind and was my final branding project. The main feat of this was the box design. I added easy-to-grip handles on the boxes so that kids could carry the boxes around the store and feel involved in the grocery shopping process. I later incorporated my branding knowledge into my Web 2 final project, Sage & Sea. Sage & Sea is a fictitious all-natural soap and body care company. The end product was created with the goal of making it easy for customers to easily browse and purchase from Sage & Sea, using design elements that reflected the brand philosophy. During the first semester of my college career, I fell in love with the typeface Helvetica. Massimo Vignelli showcased just how beautiful Helvetica is in his design of the New York City subway navigational system. Seeing Helvetica executed so perfectly in one of the most well-known design systems in the world continues to inspire my love of typography. Just as Vignelli's used simple typography in the New York City subway design system, Neville Brody takes a similar approach in his work, blending typography and negative space to create visually interesting and complex designs. Looking at Brody's work, I can understand just how much choosing the right typeface can impact the meaning and overall design. September 17th was the day all of us seniors looked forward to, the day our theme for our senior show would be announced. When Prof. P said Shape the World was our theme, my mind went blank. I didn't know what I was going to do. My first idea, hand-lettered book quote posters that empowered me. When that one got rejected, it was time to go back to the drawing board. Going back to my mood boards, what I wrote about them, and what was said in class discussion, I kept coming back to one thing: lived experiences. My favorite lived experience, a lifetime of going to Orioles games. Orioles baseball runs deep in my family, and I knew that I could use this to fuel a thesis project that would fit the theme. This past summer, I interned at L2 Brands in Hanover. While there, I met two incredible women, Deanna and Rebecca, who were both passionate sports fans like me. Deanna with hockey and Rebecca with baseball. Getting to talk with Deanna and Rebecca about sports was the first time in my life that I truly got to experience what being a female sports fan can be like. During my dad and I's first stop of our MLB Stadium tour in Cleveland, my dad ended up deferring to me to talk about the Orioles to a male Cleveland fan, who then, right after talking to me, went on to make comments about a girl, joking that she'd probably yelled touchdown instead of home run. Little did I know just how much this interaction would impact me a year later. I wanted to create an online community where female fans of the 4 major sports leagues in the U.S. could come together and share their passion with each other. Women are outnumbered in these spaces, and when they are present, men can look down upon or judge women for their passion and knowledge of the game, and I wanted to change that. As a result, Her Home Field was born. I wanted a name that emphasized being a female-only space while also emphasizing that our focus was on sports. When thinking about sports-related terms and community, Home Field came to mind. It felt like the perfect fit, letting any sports-loving woman out there know that this could be the spot for her to find others looking for the same community. Now that there was a name, it was time to determine colors. I wanted to fully embrace the female empowerment of my thesis. I landed on magenta, black, and white. This color scheme highlights the feminine nature of Her Home Field while also suggesting it's bold and empowering with the contrast of the magenta against the black. The main feature of the Her Home Field website is the community forums that are designed to give users a safe space to engage in discussions of all kinds, from the latest roster moves to posting fun game day pics. There are plenty of ways for women to connect with each other and create their own community for the sports and teams they love through the various forums. Combining my love of sports, data, and writing, I knew I had a second facet to add to the website, a blog. Not only would I write blog posts to populate it, but I would also create a submission form for other women to submit their own stories for their favorite sports or teams, perhaps providing an outlet for the future of female sports broadcasters. To my professors, Prof. P and Prof. Rogers, thank you for being excellent mentors for my growth as a graphic designer. To my friends and classmates, it's been a great 4 years and I can't wait to see where life takes us. Last but not least, a huge thank you to my entire family. Your endless unconditional love and support have meant the world to me. Thank you. Next, I would like to welcome the Agent for Empowerment, Emily Foxwell.
The mouse disappeared. I'm not kidding, the mouse disappeared. Thanks. Well, that's one way to start. Hello, thank you all for coming today. I'm Emily Foxwell, and today I'm excited to share how my exploration of design's potential empowered me to find my voice and led me to shape the direction of my senior thesis. Through this journey, I began to see design as a tool for self-discovery and social connection. When I first started my college journey in the graphic design program, I had little to no experience, knowledge, or confidence in my ability to be a graphic designer, let alone consider myself an artist. I often found myself asking Professor Patterson, should I change majors, and during critiques, I doubted where I was headed. Doubts began to take over, voices telling me, you don't have what it takes, you're in over your head, this isn't meant for you. I started tearing apart every idea before it even had a chance to grow. Eventually, I disconnected from my craft and retreated into silence, unsure of who I was creatively. But in that silence, I started to realize that maybe the way forward wasn't about being certain, it was about being willing to try anyway. Award-winning graphic designer Paula Scher said it best. It's through mistakes that you actually can grow. You have to get bad in order to get good. It encouraged me to treat every mistake as part of the creative journey, not a setback. I learned that growth doesn't come from staying safe. It comes from showing up, trying again, and being open to change. So how did I break free from this? I came to the realization that I was stronger than I had given myself credit for. I understood that I needed to make mistakes, learn from them, and grow. I had to become like a sponge, soaking up everything around me. Most importantly, I learned to trust the process. And that's exactly what I did. I immersed myself in design, diving straight into hands-on experiences like letterpress, printmaking, and hand lettering. I discovered a passion for capturing the things and people that inspire me through photography. Slowly, I began to find my niche, my voice, and my own creative language. The self-doubt I once felt became my inspiration. Instead of constantly battling my inner critic, I learned to pause, reflect, and ask, what can I do better next time? This shift in mindset helped me to see feedback, both internal and external, not as an attack on my abilities, but as a tool for growth. And learning to listen without judgment, I began to create with more purpose, confidence, and resilience. My curiosity about photography quickly deepened. I became eager to capture the world through my own lens. Through editorial photography and darkroom, I focused on capturing the most authentic shots, the ones that told a story. I was especially drawn to photographing people whose voices and presence often go unnoticed, those who deserve to be seen, heard, and remembered. That intention came to life in my published project, The Ripple Effect, which had a profound impact on me as a person and as a designer. Over the course of 3 months, I documented and photographed local volunteer organizations. Through this experience, I realized how powerful my work could be in giving a platform to the voices of others. I started to truly enjoy what I was doing. I worked on projects from creating a full branding system to designing a voting poster. I crafted illustrations, printed materials, publications, and brand identities. Drawing inspiration from designers who came before me, I refined my own style with every project. Adobe Live is a platform where designers showcase their skills live to a global audience. It was by far the scariest thing I've ever done. While it was a realization of my biggest dream, designing in front of the world was incredibly daunting. Despite the fear, it turned out to be an unforgettable experience, a powerful moment to share my creative process, and for the first time, fully capture my own voice. In the summer of 2024, I interned as an in-house graphic designer at CNS Companies. It was a transformative experience where I honed my skills, found my design voice, and learned the importance of creating with purpose and professionalism. I'm excited to continue growing as I transition into a full-time role with CNS.
As I gained confidence in my design skills, I felt drawn to connect with creative women who had found their voices in a world that often tried to silence them. I wanted to learn how they overcame challenges and used their craft to express their truth. These women became role models, teaching me that embracing one's voice is a powerful act of resistance and empowerment. Margaret Atwood, a renowned novelist published in over 45 countries, is known for The Handmaid's Tale, which tackles oppression, gender roles, and identity in a totalitarian society. With over 8 million copies sold, it's one of the most banned books in the U.S. Despite this, Atwood continues to write works that challenge norms and inspire change. She never allowed herself to be silenced. Sally Mann, a celebrated photographer, has faced criticism for her intimate collection of photographs. In January, her exhibition, Diaries of Home in Texas, was condemned by Tim O'Hare, and some photos were seized by police. Despite the controversy, Mann continues to capture raw, emotional moments that define her art. She never allowed herself to be silenced. The stories of these two women who overcame societal pressures stayed true to their creative voices inspire me to honor their legacies. This led to my senior thesis, The Feminine Form, a collection of 10 feminist book covers celebrating transformative women in design and photography. Each cover was designed to reflect the novel's essence while paying homage to the women who shaped the design world. For The Feminine Form, I read over 15 novels in 2.5 months and researched over 50 women graphic designers and photographers. I analyzed their success factors, media, color choices, typography, and influences while exploring feminist novels and their themes. I then translated those themes into my designs, adding my creative touch while staying true to the essence of the works. The process integrated design and photography techniques, utilizing analog methods like mixed media collages, hand-torn paper, illustrations, and self-portrait photography. I embraced the influence of past designers, but ensured that each cover was a reflection of my own artistic vision, bringing a fresh perspective to each novel. By doing so, I created covers that felt like an extension of my creative journey. My design journey has evolved from self-doubt to confidence. As I found my voice, I realized it was my duty to amplify the stories of women who have been silenced. Every woman deserves to pursue her passions without fear, and through my work, I aim to honor their success and ensure their impact is recognized both personally and globally. A big thank you to my incredible professors, Troy Patterson, Melanie Rogers, and Denise Campbell, for your guidance and support. To my CNS team, John Irwin and Ryan Berardi, to my friends and classmates, thank you for these past 4 years. Thank you to my family for always believing in me, and to the women who continue to fight to be seen and heard, your strength fuels me every day. Thank you. Next, I would like to welcome the Agent for Connection, Pauline Archer.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Pauline, or Paul Archer, and I'd like to spend these few minutes to reflect on the journey I took that led me to present here today in front of you all, as well as all the things I've taken to heart on the way: escapism, creation, and friendship. To start, what is escapism? Noun. As of Oxford Languages, escapism is the tendency to seek distraction and relief from unpleasant realities, especially by seeking entertainment or engaging in fantasy. It's using your imagination to actively escape from reality, to disassociate. Growing up, I knew this concept intimately. I was small, lacking agency in anything and everything. And through circumstances that I couldn't even begin to understand, I was lonely. Very, very lonely. I was a very good keeper of secrets, burdens, back then. The sanctity of my family's world depended on it, and as I grew up, I let the secret crush me, slowly, winding any energy, potential I had to grow to discover out. I had a role. I was to fulfill it, live it, embody it. But there was art. Art. Despite everything I experienced too young, despite the bitter loneliness and isolation I felt, I draw, and I do it damn poorly, but it was my world, The world I could shape, a world that was safe and didn't hurt. My world. 6 years ago, the dome broke, and I found myself with my world flipped and my role shattered. What had defined my life, myself for so long, was now null, and I found myself a stranger in my own body. So I did what I knew best, and I drew. But instead of seeking solace, I started to find myself. Entering York College, I found that I thrived in learning how to communicate my thoughts better, smoother, how to draw cleaner, how to purposefully be messy, because all of a sudden, there was this brand new world that I could actually live in and experience. I could see the world. The walks I'd take around campus or home would have the brightest, most beautiful colors, and I realized I could learn from it. I could use it. When I discovered about constructivism, I realized I could look back onto my Russian heritage and be inspired by its history and design. I could use it to talk about what I cared for. The striking shapes and the powerful use of red became a comfort for me, not as an escape this time, but my wedge to be confident and strong. I wanted to be that, and so I adapted that in a lot of my work. So I drew and designed what I felt was strong, safe, unbreakable. And of course, in design, there's more to it than self-expression. There are limits, rules, things you can or can't do, and ultimately, it's client-oriented. Design is for communication, after all. You have to work with what you're given and make the best out of it. And sometimes, the best out of it is watching your client, Jerry Jiff, send you betcha as he sends you the next set of poorly optimized assets for a newsletter. And sometimes, the best is being able to apply what you've learned elsewhere to the things you really, really care about. I first learned this lesson from my Escape from Madness zine, which I made at the end of 2021. It was the first project I felt I had true power over what I wanted to do. I could tell a story about whatever I wanted, and I had the knowledge to design it. The documentation book project put this sentiment into full throttle, as I now could illustrate and write an entire book about anything. It only became more of an opportunity to learn about myself. After all, it was where I could draw, write, and dissect what I felt every day. But it wasn't everything. Previously, I've mentioned shaping my own world through art. That part really never left me. More so, it only intensified as I learned more about things. The more I knew, the better I could design and paint, the more my fantasy stories could grow. But nothing influenced my stories more until I found connection. Online, especially in the midst of COVID, I found people who were like me. I found artists and writers, people who liked games and loved escaping into their own worlds. I found a community, one that welcomed me and let me grow and indulge with them. Those people became my friends and they loved me as I loved them. Everything changed with them. One person in particular, named Noah, had introduced the world concept to me back in 2020. Interested, I decided to help design some of the characters. And as we talked and built more on this world began to mean more to me than I could have ever imagined. It became my thesis. This is my introduction to Descarn, a fantasy world where magical beings named embodiments exist, meant to embody a concept, be it object, feeling, action, or other. But while they're meant to fulfill this purpose socially, deep down they realize they want to live for themselves and for each other, redefining themselves regardless of their concept of what they're meant to be. Across the 5 zines of my thesis, the rules and practices of the world, characters and themes are slowly revealed and start to intertwine. But when bound to face an inevitable threat linked to the very fate of the world, might breaking its rules be the answer? Will isolation and purpose win in the end, or will love and community prevail? Descarn has become my love letter to everything I've held dear to me. It has been there when I needed an escape. It has been the art that me and my boyfriend of 4 years, Noah, share. A love letter to creation and wonders of fantasy. And it's a thank you to my friends who, without them, I would have never had the courage to find myself. When you read Introduction to Dustkarn, I hope you too can become immersed in this world I've been cultivating with my partner. I also want to say thanks to Emely Mora-Bailon. The talks we've had meant everything. I want to extend thanks to my professors Rogers and Patterson, and I want to finally thank my mom for supporting me all these years and being there for me when the dome broke first. Thank you. I now would like to introduce Katie Smagala, Agent of Hope.
Hello, my name is Katie Smagala, and today I'd like to tell you how graphic design saved my life and how I'm using that to hopefully help others. If you had asked me 6 years ago where I'd be today, I never would have said presenting my graphic design senior thesis. Back then, I was just trying to find reasons to keep going. Even 4 years ago, I never imagined that I would be presenting a graphic design thesis project. I enrolled here with a major in advertising and digital marketing, a business major. The day before I scheduled my classes, I realized that business has way too much math and immediately emailed the admissions office to change my major to graphic design. Once I started classes, I realized that changing my major was the right decision. The first actual project I did here was this logo project. I knew that I liked logo design when I was in high school and was learning graphic design, but this is when I started to realize just how much I enjoy logo design and branding. Over the years, my eye for design, logos, and brand identity has gotten much better. Elixir Energy was the final project for a class that focused on branding. I created an energy drink company along with an advertisement, a style guide, and a physical prototype to showcase how a cohesive brand identity is created. In that same class, we were tasked with creating a K-Cup company within 1 week, from ideation to final design. For this project, we were advised to stick with what we knew. I knew that I could do hand lettering and turn it into a logo. This project taught me that I am capable of designing something in a short amount of time, even if I'm unsure about it at first. Cup and Cake was the first project from that same class, a project designed to be an introduction to logo design, branding, and brand identity. There were a lot of iterations to find the right logo, and then I still had to figure out the business card, letterhead, and envelope. It was frustrating and time-consuming, but it paid off. During my junior year, I also took Web Design 1, or rather, I suffered through Web Design 1. I thought, it's just a class I need to take for the major. I created some decent website layouts, but I never wanted to touch Figma again. I learned the basics of web design and figured that I'd never have to deal with it again. I was wrong. During my senior year, I had to take Web Design 2. It was in this class that I realized maybe web design wasn't so bad. I struggled through coding, I learned Figma prototyping, and made decently functional website prototypes. This class was going to be really helpful as I created my senior thesis project. I just didn't know it yet. Even before graphic design, I loved photography. I always wanted a camera, and I used to follow my dad around when he would take pictures for church, begging him to let me try. The first time he handed me his camera, I said, "This is mine now." Since then, I've seen the world in images, always searching for beauty in everyday life. These two projects were some of the most interesting ones I've done. The Wiki Reader took us down Wikipedia rabbit holes and taught me about curating information and type layout. The newsletter introduced me to client work, including tricky clients like Jerry Jiff, who didn't know design but knew what he wanted, and sent emails in neon pink Comic Sans. I've never thought of myself as being able to draw. I never took art classes in high school, and I struggled through drawing classes here at York. When I was tasked with creating a typeface that didn't use any recognizable numbers or letters, I wasn't sure what I was going to do. Ink Charming is inspired by the idea of the doodles in the margins of notebooks when you're bored in class. Mental health has been a large part of my life for the past 8 years. College has taught me more than just graphic design. I've learned that it's okay not to be okay. It's taken me a long time to understand what this really means, and I'm still not sure that I completely do, but I've learned that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be able to handle everything on your own. Graphic design kind of saved my life. 6 years ago, I was at my lowest, barely functioning. Then I started studying advertising design at A.W. Beatty Career Center, and everything changed. It gave me purpose, support, and hope. I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. So what does this have to do with my senior thesis? On March 18th, 2019, I learned that a classmate had taken her own life. It hit hard. I was struggling with my own mental health at the time. So when it came time to choose a topic for senior thesis, focusing on mental health and suicide prevention felt not only right, but necessary. It's a large part of who I am and how I interact with the world. At this point, I was still reeling from Web Design 1. I was a month into Web Design 2 and was hating it. I never wanted to design another website ever again. Sure, I was doing well, but I wasn't enjoying it yet. It was too confusing and I didn't understand coding. That didn't matter. If I wanted to shape the world, I needed a website. Once I established that I was in fact going to make a website, I needed to focus on the branding. This came easily to me. Lots of mood boards and research and several rounds of iterations allowed me to create the logo and brand concept. 100 Reasons, a suicide prevention and awareness nonprofit focusing on reasons to keep going. This project, while it does focus on suicide and mental health, is at its core a hopeful project. This led to a bright color palette paired with the stark black and white found in the logo and the website. This draws attention to the reasons themselves, as those are the main aspects and main takeaway of this project. In order to reach people and hopefully help just one person, I also needed some sort of social media presence. Introducing at the 100 Reasons on Instagram. All 100 Reasons can be found on both Instagram and the website, ready to be downloaded, shared, and reposted. So how is this shaping the world? My goal with this project isn't to change the world. I don't need to do that. What I need to do is reach one person. 135 people on average are affected by one suicide death. I don't need to reach everyone to make real change. Reaching just one person can affect the lives of so many others. I want to take this opportunity to thank my family for supporting me in my graphic design journey. Thank you to my graphic design people and professors for making York feel like home for the past 4 years. Thank you to my friends for being my reason to keep going every day. Lastly, I want to take the opportunity to remind you that the world needs you, and I'm happy that you're here. Now, I would like to welcome our Agent for Growth, Emely Mora-Bailon.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here today. My name is Emely Mora-Bailon, and today I am excited to share with you my journey for the past 4 years as a graphic designer and share with you the projects that inspired my thesis project. When I was in high school, I planned to study criminal justice and forensics. It was inspired by my chemistry teacher, who I had for 2 years, and she helped me out a lot, both academically and personally. Despite that, I ended up pursuing graphic design. It was a surprise, but one I'm happy with. One of our first projects was designing a personal logo. I had no idea what represented me or how to even start. On top of that, I didn't even know how to use any of the software, while most of my classmates did. I felt completely over my head. While I took many courses, typography caught my attention, kinda. At first, I didn't understand it. There were so many tiny details and rules that go into it, choosing the right typeface, the font's weight, leading, and kerning. It was the booklets from Type 1 that sparked my interest in both typography and publication design. In Type 2, my interest in publication design and typography deepened even more. We had the chance to create another booklet and had full creative control over it. We also designed our own font through Fontself in Illustrator, and I created Codex that was inspired by Pigpen's cipher. Even though I'm majoring in graphic design, I still enjoy making traditional art, especially using charcoal for the majority of my drawings. Some of the pieces on screen are from my drawing classes, while more recently, I worked on a series inspired by Mexican folklore. One of our projects involved creating a poster creating markings made from various materials. I chose charcoal for mine. Both posters were made from close-up photos of my charcoal markings, which I then recolored in Photoshop. This project inspired me to start mixing traditional and digital designs in future projects. After taking drawing, I moved on to illustration with Professor Rogers, who convinced me to get Procreate. These courses helped me transition my drawings into a digital space. It's also where I discovered editorial illustration, allowing me to combine my drawings with publication design. Through the courses, I was able to create illustrations that still align with graphic design, expanding my skill set. I created a vinyl album cover, book covers, ads, and other illustrations based on concepts. I also started creating my own characters called chaotic critters, and I couldn't have done it without Professor Rogers and her guidance. I wanted to continue expanding my skill set, and photography has always been something I've loved. I aim to capture a variety of subjects, but I'm especially interested in portraits and candid photography. That said, I also enjoy doing product photography when the opportunity comes up. This is my book, Fabrication, a semester-long project that allowed me to merge reality with imagination, creating dreamlike visuals that balance realism and fantasy. It is also where I combine photography, illustration, and publication design together. It was the project that served as a major inspiration for my thesis. Now that I have more experience, I was able to create Recombination, a newsletter design in my publication design class. It was a fun throwback incorporating chemistry-inspired designs elements. I also created another booklet called The Wiki Reader, which further deepened my interest in publication design. So branding. I initially thought it was just creating the logo, but it's so much more. It's about choosing the right typography, colors, imagery, and the overall message. One of the biggest challenges was finding visuals that matched the brand's identity while staying appealing. Midnight Caffeine ended up being my favorite brand identity project to work on. When Prof P told us the theme was Shape the World, I had no idea what to do. I didn't know what to create that would help people, but it got me thinking about the mini essays we had to do in class. I realized that all of the essays could be connected to anxiety. Anxiety, a feeling of fear, dread, and uneasiness. It's something everyone experiences, but I've dealt with it my entire life. As a kid, I didn't understand what it was or why I felt that way. It wasn't until my teens that I recognized it, though I still lacked guidance or support. Many things have triggered my anxiety, some small, some big. Getting all A's, public speaking, time management, tournaments, my appearance, being a woman, fear of disappointing, my skin color, mental health, and even the fear of losing my family have all weighed heavily on me at different times. It is what it is. It became a phrase I clung to as a kid, a simple and cliche, but fitting review of my relationship with anxiety. In my household, any mental illness wasn't talked about or acknowledged. I couldn't learn how to cope or take the medication I needed without hiding it. I wasn't able to go to the doctor until I was 19. As a result, I had to learn about anxiety and its disorders on my own. I learned to manage my anxiety, but I wish I had something that would have guided me through it. As a result, it inspired me to create my thesis project around the disorder. Internal Minds is a series of 4 zine-style booklets that explore different anxiety disorders through illustrations, storytelling, and educational content. Featuring comic-style panels, the booklets visualize anxiety-driven fears collected from a public survey, and I wanted the readers to realize that they are not alone in their struggles. Once again, thank you to everyone for coming today and supporting us. I especially want to thank my family and friends, Professor Patterson and Professor Rogers, along with Miss Deb and Miss Rita for the support to get me here. I couldn't have done it without you. Next, I would like to welcome the agent for Connection, Josephine Wagner.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Josephine Wagner, and today I will be taking you through my journey at York College of Pennsylvania and the things I fell in love with during my time here, like letterpress, collage, printmaking, and so much more, and how it all shaped me into the graphic designer standing in front of you today. When I first came to York College, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do or enjoyed, but I quickly found a love for analog processes. Letterpress was a class that allowed me to put myself into my work physically. The setting of type and inking of blocks allowed me to focus on the craft of the work I was doing. The start of the class was me finding my love of analog processes. Printmaking was also a class that helped me gain a love for analog processes. I found a love for the mixing of ink and ripping of paper, or the therapeutic rhythm of carving linoleum and wood. I found that when using my hands to create my work, my mind became calm, and I was able to connect deeper within it. Cup and Cake was a branding project for a fictional coffee and bakery shop. For this project, we were required to make a full branding system for the company per their request. This included a logo, business card, letterhead, and envelope. This project helped me grow my skills in logo design, branding, and how to properly fit a client's needs. Snowball Cocoa was a rush project, meaning we had only 1 week to come up with a company and then create a logo and packaging. Snowball Cocoa creates artisanal hot chocolate for those chilly days out on the slopes. For this project, I learned more in depth how to create something that embodies the feeling of a company, and how things like color and simplicity can make all the difference. Yarned was probably the biggest branding project I have created, as this was a project we completely designed ourselves. We were tasked with making a company, creating packaging for a product, creating the branding, and establishing a branding guide. For the company, Yarned is an artist-owned yarn company that offers unique and functional packaging. The Recombination newsletter was our first introduction to working with a client. For this project, we were tasked with communicating with a difficult client and making sure we fit all of their needs. Jerry Jiff, played by our professors, was the first client I ever worked with. His chaotic and confusing emails taught me only to read and respond to a client after reading their emails thoroughly and making sure I meet their needs. Found Art, the process creating analog collages, was a documentation book I made within 1 semester. For this, we were tasked to completely write, design, and self-publish a book. Throughout the process, I created weekly collages to showcase a unique process of collage making. I also interviewed several collage artists and provided tips on how to collage. The UTS website redesign was one of my first introductions to web design and the ways to make a website functional. For this, we were tasked with redesigning a questionable website design. Through this project, I found a love for creating clean and consistent web design. Wildflower Soap Company was a fictional soap shop focused on creating natural products cleanly. For this project, we had to create a website and all the aspects that went with it. The product pages, pop-ups, and shopping carts were some of the many details we had to create with this project, and this helped me learn more about the logistics of a website and how they function internally. Something that inspires me a lot is collage art, and Jessie Lemon is one of the first people I saw collage work from and was immediately captured by it. She began her journey in 2019 after finding a love for surrealism and collage art. In an interview with her, she told me her work is a way to disconnect from the ideas present in her head. Similarly, Casey Goddard is a collage artist whom I find a lot of inspiration from. She creates collages that are eye-opening and eye-catching. She found her love for collage after needing a way to express her emotions from her relationship. These two artists work to blend real life and surrealism in a way that I love so much, and is such an inspiration to me. So how did this lead to my senior thesis? Well, when I first heard the term shape the world, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do because I had no clue how I could shape the world. I had things that I enjoyed and loved, but how could my interests shape the world? And how could I, as a graphic designer, use my work to shape the world? So this was when I tried to figure out what I could do. At the beginning of the semester, we were asked to make mood boards of the things that shaped our world. And this helped us lead to our thesis more. For me, I had a lot of things that I felt shaped my world, but I found what was most important to me and mattered the most, and I found inspiration through that. What I found was the people around me, like friends and family, shape me. The things I have seen and gone through, like my grandfather's loss to cancer, shape me. The places that meant so much to my family, like Blackwater Falls in West Virginia, shape me. And the ideas presented to me in my life, like taking care of yourself first, shape me so much. So after thinking about it all, I came up with Noun. Noun is an art blog that highlights the creation of collage art based on a person, place, thing, or idea. Noun hopes that by sharing art, others feel inspired to create their own and connect within the stories that are being told. Through this website, I share detailed collages and ratings about the things that shape my world. But this is not about me. My hope with Noun is that you, the viewer, will find comfort and connection with the work, and think about the people that shaped your world, the places, things, and ideas that have done what they need to do for you. Collage has been a huge part of my career at this point, and it is truly a passion of mine. For my website, I created a series of 20 collages, 5 for each category: person, place, thing, and idea. Throughout the process, I found pieces that I felt fit the idea, and then I combined it with my love of letterpress within the collages as well. Throughout the website, you can view the collage, read the text, or listen to me narrate them while viewing it. I hope that by hearing me talk about them, you can deepen your own connection within the work and feel less alone knowing someone has gone through something you might have. My website also features a group blog aspect, which allows members to share their own artwork and writings of the things that have shaped their world. I would like to thank all of those who have helped me get to this point. Thank you to my classmates and friends for getting me through my last 4 years. Thank you to my professors for teaching me what I know. Thank you to my boyfriend Spencer for always supporting me. Thank you to my family for being here no matter what. And lastly, thank you, Papa. You inspired this entire project, and I truly wish you were still here to see it. Thank you. Next, I would like to introduce the Agent for Perspectives, Kaylin Ryan.
Hello, my name is Kaylin Ryan, and this is my presentation about shaping the world and my graphic design journey at York College of Pennsylvania. Something I am passionate about is cherishing your time now and all that you have in this given moment, and that heavily influenced the senior thesis. A very important quote in my life is, "You have to have the bad to appreciate the good," first said to me by my mother. You have to have the bad parts in life, or else you won't fully appreciate the really good ones. If everything was great all the time, we wouldn't be able to fully value what we have, and that also influenced this project. So about me, I'm a Maryland native, and I've always had a passion for the arts. In high school, I was able to find a way to create and express my creativity without having the complete raw talent that it seemed like everybody else had. I was able to find graphic design. I had always heard about people from my hometown going to York College, so I decided to check it out. I still wasn't sure what to do for school, so I came here undecided. The advisors here advised me to be placed in graphic design courses given my experience in high school attending the technical school in my hometown for print production. For my first 2 years at York College, I remained undecided, which makes sense for me, honestly. It wasn't until my second year here where I began to take graphic design seriously and my passion for it bloomed. After this second year, something big happened that made me passionate about everything in life. Throughout my time at York, I was able to express my interest in design quite often. In publication design, I was tasked with documenting something that interests me, and I chose to document something that my family has been involved with for years, which is bracket racing. The Perfect Run is more than just a book, but a turning point in my design career. While continuing to have the opportunity to express myself through design, I took a letterpress course where I was able to learn the foundations of typography while also learning a hands-on process to design. This course allowed me to create some unique portfolio pieces. I was also able to expand my knowledge of graphic design with branding by creating a packaging system, Breeze. Breeze is a brand of non-carbonated alcohol that I created. I learned a lot about detail in this project, as well as how to work on a very large project and keeping track of all of my process. Another example of me expanding my branding knowledge is with this project, Sweet Tails Bakery. Sweet Tails Bakery is a company that makes treats for your furry friends. I was able to create a stationary identity system from scratch while also working on a team while putting my own spin on design. When creating Ryan Celtic Coffee, I was tasked with creating a packaging system in 1 week from start to finish. This proved that I could not only create a packaging system in 1 week from start to finish, but I could also do it well. For this project, Design Observer, I was given the assets and assigned to create a publication out of just the text and the images. I used my knowledge of typography and publication design to create a unique display of the information. This project helped me develop my ability to create publications while also using assets that aren't mine. When it came time to formulate my thesis, one instance in my life came to mind for inspiration. As stated earlier, something big happened. Hearing the words "shape the world," I knew I wanted to incorporate perspectives into my thesis. I was in a catastrophic car accident when I was 19, which changed my entire perspective on life. I struggled with incorporating this instance into my thesis. I don't want to sit here and tell you all about how horrible the car accident was and how hard it was for me to come back to school for 2 months with a neck brace and the agonizing pain I was in, because it's not about that. Instead, it's about being grateful for what you have now, because you don't know what lies ahead. I had the message down for my thesis at this point, but now it was time to figure out what it was even going to be. I chose to combine two forms of design that I had always liked, publication and branding design. Combining these two allowed me to create something truly meaningful. My goal for shaping the world with this thesis is to start from within, starting with the people right around you. The motivation behind this initiative is to help individuals gain gratitude and perspectives on what they already have. It's so easy to take what we have for granted and to forget to have gratitude. To create this project, I started by creating the logo with lots of trial and error to land on the final one by creating lots of variations. I also went through a lot of trial and error when creating the size of the book and the imagery that is in the book. It was even a challenge to figure out what the mini notebooks were going to look like. Let's Not Talk About It is the game about perspectives and gratitude. To play, you grab the ones you love, and one person reads a question or a prompt from the playbook, and each player will write down their answers in their notebook, and then you share. You share your perspectives and gratitude by answering thought-provoking questions and prompts. So what's the point? This thesis is a game designed for people who know each other but want to foster deeper conversations. This game enables individuals to develop emotional intelligence within small groups of their loved ones. The point is to talk about deeper topics while also reflecting on what matters. Hence the play on words, let's not talk about it. The message I really want you all to take away from this presentation and this project is to please don't sweat the small stuff. Find who is important to you and love them close. In order to make this world better, we need to start from within by showing more compassion and being more appreciative. Find who cares about you and love them close. I just want to say thank you to my parents, my mom and dad, for being truly supportive of me and teaching me what unconditional love is, as well as my brother Tyler for being such a great person in my life and a role model for me growing up. I also want to thank all of my classmates, Prof. P, for helping me throughout my time here at York College. Thank you. Next, I would like to welcome the Agent for Expiration, Kimberly Conway.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Conway, and I'll be taking you through the journey of how I came to stand here in front of everyone today. I will show you my beginnings in art, how I found what excited me the most about graphic design, and how it evolved into what would be my senior thesis project. Something's wrong with that. I have been a traveler all my life. Growing up in a military family meant that I was constantly changing my perspective and environment. On average, I would move every 3 years. This meant that I went to 3 elementary schools, 1 middle school, and 3 high schools. As such, travel in new environments only invite curiosity in me. It is for this reason that I also developed a love for reading, fantasy in particular. I found that I enjoyed books that would take me into their fantastical worlds. They allowed me to see what I hadn't seen before, despite my travels as a child. I wanted my work to reflect the whimsical nature of these books. I've been making art for as long as I can remember. Due to the moving and the constant change in my life, art became the thing that grounded me. It was something that I could take with me no matter where in life I ended up. I was more closely aligned with fine art using physical materials such as paint, graphite, markers, and pastels. I initially wasn't set on being a graphic designer and thought I would go to school to get a business degree. Graphic design was actually something I found after researching different majors related to art. I knew that I wouldn't be happy working in a field of study if I didn't do something to express my creative side. As such, I found YCP. I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning, but some of my first projects freshman year helped make my path clear. I had my first taste of logo design and digital illustration, which helped me to first learn to use Illustrator. I found how much I loved drawing digitally and knew I wanted to include digital illustrations into other projects. With this in mind, it comes to no surprise I took to the illustration classes as soon as I could. My goal was to make it through all 4 illustration classes to get as much experience in it as possible. I did just that, learning how to illustrate in ways I previously didn't know how, and I improved immensely thanks to my professors, Professor Rogers in particular. During my sophomore year, we had our portfolio review where the faculty inspected the work we had done thus far and gave us feedback on how to improve. One critique stood out to me more than the rest. I kept reverting back to the same or similar color palette, primarily focusing on red. I hadn't even realized I had been doing this. Too bad, I still like red. Entering junior year, I still felt lost on what I wanted to do as a designer. There were parts of projects I liked and others not. One of my favorite and most challenging ones was the documentation book. I felt lots of freedom as I created the book cover and the internal illustrations on whatever topic I wanted, mythologies. I was finally going somewhere. A great designer once said, "Good design's not about what medium you're working in, it's about thinking hard about what you want to do and what you have to work with before you start." As a pioneer of digital iconography, Susan Carrod's words stuck with me. It made me take a step back and think about who I wanted to be as a designer and what sort of work I wanted to create. With this in mind, I stepped away from my comfort zone and began to research different designers. I wanted my work to reflect my love for the whimsical and the fantastical. I became inspired by designers such as June DeGan and Jianyan Liu for the use of color and illustration in their work. Second semester of junior year, I took a class called Junior Design Studio. Here, I finally figured out what I wanted to do as a graphic designer, branding. Phoenix Breath K-Cups and Fizzy Fiesta were designed with the whimsicality I wanted all my designs to have, with the colorful branding I want to do. I mixed illustration into my work more than I had ever done before. I hadn't realized prior to this class how much I was influenced by my experiences early on in life. I'm an artist, a designer, a traveler, and a lover of whimsicality. I realized that when creating work, I love to explore the world with fun and creative imagery. At YCP, I'm able to meet a wide variety of people from all walks of life. Through interacting with them, I found that college was the first time many had been somewhere new. However, there were also a large number of students who'd never left York. They hadn't seen the world like I have and want to in the future. This fascinated me as someone who wants to travel and see more of the world. This became the inspiration for my thesis. I wondered how I can encourage others to explore and see the world as I have. Knowing what I enjoy and what I want to do as a graphic designer, of course, I created a travel journal brand. When researching imagery related to travel, I came across the word pole star. I found that it is another name for the North Star and is a bright star that can be seen in the sky in northern parts of the world when one looks directly towards the north. I use this for the name of my brand as I wanted it to work as a guide for people who wish to become travelers as well. Through this thesis project, I hope to influence people to take a step outside of their comfort zone, as I have, and see the world around them. If you live your life sticking only to what you know, you miss out on the new discoveries waiting just around the corner, and the vast amount of people you just haven't met yet. However, people are all different. While some desire to explore nature in mountainous regions, others may wish to explore the vast oceans. As such, I decided to illustrate 5 different journal cover designs to encompass the variety of interests people have, which include the ocean, mountains, nature, the world, and space. I also created a website where others could share their stories of travel and receive guidance on how to get started. I wanted to make sure that there was a variety of information available for anyone interested, no matter how short or long their trip may be, and also where people won't be afraid to get started on their own journeys. I want to thank my family, friends, classmates, and professors who've supported me throughout my journey here at YCP. You have challenged me to work harder and become a better designer every step of the way. I will continue to prove not only myself, but my work as a graphic designer. I am also excited to announce I am currently waiting on an offer letter from Three Hammers Winery. Thank you. Next, I would like to welcome the Agent for Sustainability, Riley Long.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Riley Long, and I will be taking you through my journey here at YCP as a graphic designer and how I was inspired to create my senior thesis, Nature Unfolded, a series that aims to inspire a deeper connection with the environment and raise awareness of the value of Maryland's landscapes. In 2021, I graduated high school and in the fall became a freshman here at York as a new student, designer, and athlete. I was first introduced to YCP by a former coach, and after research, I found out the school offered graphic design. It was a perfect fit for me both academically and athletically. During my studies, I learned an abundant amount of new information. This extends to new concepts, techniques, and tools. I quickly discovered how much design goes beyond making things look good. It's about problem solving, storytelling, and understanding design choices. I found my love for printmaking, hand lettering, and branding. Branding fascinates me because it combines creativity with strategy to create something both visually appealing and functional. Communicating values and personality is crucial during this process. I discovered that the process was all about creating something that makes an impact. River Springs Coffee and Company is a Keurig box and pod packaging system. Inspiration was drawn from my hometown, Avenue, Maryland, and the road I live on, which is featured within the outline of the logo. I created this system all within 1 week. I learned that I'm able to design and finalize work in a short amount of time. Tats on Tap is based on the idea of combining a tattoo shop and bar. Initially, this project started in a group of 3 where we had to create an idea for a company as well as a brief and proposal. After landing on the name and octopus logo, we split up and designed our own system of a business card, letterhead, and envelope. Publication design and typesetting is the foundation for creating visually effective and readable printed materials. Publication design is about understanding the balance between text, images, and white space, while typesetting influences the readability and tone of the content. Travel Through Wiki is a 12-page booklet that explores the rabbit hole that is Wikipedia. Within 3 clicks or less, I had to select a new word that stems from the previous word. My booklet begins on the word rainforest and ends on the word Australia. During my Wikipedia travel, I selected words that all led back to rainforest. Recombination Newsletter is a self-mailer combined with content given to me by my professor who acted as a difficult client. Communication with a client solely through email required me to be thorough and gather the content needing, ensuring all things necessary were met. Introducing a larger project, I have my documentation book titled Beyond the Field. I created, designed, photographed, and wrote a 10,000-word doc book based on being a student athlete. I wanted to take my design knowledge and create something that encapsulates what it's like balancing school, work, a social life, and sports. Printmaking is a unique and hands-on way to create art through transferring an image from one surface to another. It's a blend of crafting and creativity where each print feels like a one-of-a-kind piece. I found my love for carving into linoleum blocks and using a press to bring a piece to life. Moving off the screen and onto paper is incredibly important for my creativity and craft. Digital tools are essential for production, but working on paper offers a freedom and flexibility that screens don't always offer. I love to draw by hand, experiment with different mediums, and tap into my creative instincts. Drawing brings me back to the basics and my initial passion for art. It allows me to explore my imagination and bring ideas to life in a way that feels personal. Putting pencil to paper allows me to focus, lose track of time, and get completely immersed in the act of creation. When I was first given the theme, Shape the World, I was stuck. I was unsure what that meant to me and how I could express this idea and create something that I am passionate about. Through the process of creating mood boards about my family, friends, sports, and nature, I decided to hone in on my love for the natural world. I'm from a small town called Avenue, Maryland, and grew up on the Potomac River fishing, crabbing, and tubing. My passion and appreciation for the outdoors definitely stems from my dad. My passion for nature, digital creation, and drawing combined into one is how my senior thesis, Nature Unfolded, was created. Now knowing the direction I wanted to go in, I began to look at travel posters of the different national parks. Featured above is a minimalist graphic style inspired by the work of Rod Decker, the original creator of the National Park poster series. I drew inspiration from this style where I could combine my passions into one. Shaping the World meant taking my passion for nature and thoughtfully crafting a series of 4 brochures that unfold into posters. Each brochure is designed to showcase the unique importance and specific benefits of the Maryland's diverse landscapes. This collection features 1 brochure dedicated to each of the region's key landscapes. The forest, waterways, mountains, and farmlands are all crucial elements that help benefit Maryland's economic and social well-being. Whether coastal or rural, each landscape plays a crucial role in shaping the lives and heritage of the residents who call Maryland home. Through this work, I aim to help individuals recognize the natural world's profound impact on our daily lives and the broader environmental, economic, and social systems that sustain us all. As a designer, I hope that through this presentation, you've gained insights into the ideas, creativity, and thought processes behind my designs. I would like to end by thanking everyone for coming this afternoon and supporting all the designers here. Thank you to my classmates and professors who have made me into a better designer. Thank you to my boyfriend for all of this support, and a huge thank you to my family, especially my parents. Without their love, support, and encouragement, I would not be here today. I would like to welcome back to the stage Professor Patterson, an agent of collaboration.
Randy, could you get the lights? We call this done. Congratulations. I learned that in grad school. I have a few announcements. One, take a picture. Did that. Two, wow, you guys nailed it. You held it together. Yeah. You put it back together. And I can't be more inspired than you all. You're really great people. You all should be very proud. And I want the lights to come up for you guys to really thank your family for being here. And Kim, we got your back. We got your back. One announcement, Riley Long. Riley was freaking out because she played, along with her teammates, the lacrosse championship today, and it was scheduled for 7. Then it was moved to 12, and the freak out moment happened yesterday because she was supposed to go second. And I said, Riley, don't worry, just get here by 4:30 and you're good. Well, it's 4:32, so that would have been bad. Riley and her teammates won the conference championship. Who do you play next?
We go into the tournament. So.
Good. Whoever you play, I hate him. So I'm really happy for you. I hope you got all the pictures that you needed. I learned it in graduate school, this phrase, the first day of graduate school. Find a place to trust and trust it for a while. That's a quote from Sister Corta Kent. She was a nun that taught graphic design in the 1960s and had these 10 rules on how a classroom should be run. And that was the one that had stuck with me. And I had a little talk earlier, and I'm gonna hold it together. But this goes to you all. When these folks were freshmen, I clearly remember having a talk with them about finding your people. We are just 2021, coming out of that pandemic stuff, and things were really difficult for all of us. And we had this, we really had to pull back into ourselves and find your people. And I want to applaud you all because you found your people. Not just in this room, but as lifelong graphic designers, you're going to continue to find your people. So I congratulate you again. We have an exhibit to see. There is, on the right-hand side is the graphic design exhibit. On the left-hand side is the fine art exhibit. They presented last week. So please make sure that you check out that work as well. It's wonderful. I want to let you all know that many of the pieces, actually I think all of them, are interactive. So feel free to pick up the books and page through them, fold out the pamphlets, thank you, for Roddy's piece. They're going to freak out because you're touching the work, but that's what graphic designers do. We make things for people to interact with. It's part of the exhibit. We want you to do that. There's also a QR code that is on their bios. That's for you to click and go right to their online portfolio. So if anyone in here is looking for some freelancers or full-time employees, these people here would be wonderful additions to your business. There are portfolios upstairs. They are their pride and joy. Graphic designers show their work. Please be careful. Look through it. But if you just ate a big fat cheeseburger, maybe you shouldn't. Lastly, thank you all for coming and supporting these great people. They are some of the best people I know, and they are really going to shape the world with what they do, how they do it, and I couldn't be prouder. So in about 20 minutes after y'all get a chance to really look at some things, we'll announce some awards. So thank you for coming.